Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Sunday, June 18th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please get the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today is the Page of Wands. And guys, can I tell you how happy I am to see this card? Because if you will recall, we finished the daily collective read yesterday with this card, but this card was in its reversal, which was indicating some difficulty in communication or feeling some communication hurdles at the summary of yesterday's read. I'm very happy to see that we are already starting this week or the today with this card, but now we are seeing it in its upright. So any of those communication blockages that you may have been experiencing yesterday, we're seeing that there is some approaches or some steps being taken to overcome and clear some of those hurdles. This makes a lot of sense depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. Specifically, since our card of the day today, the Emperor, does show that particularly for the masculine energy right now, there is a level of self-empowerment that's coming via self-control right now. While for feminine energy, this is feeling some degree of confidence towards any masculine energy that is showing this ability or degree to communicate at this time. Let's continue to get clarification on these cards. The second card that we are getting in our 5-card spread for today is the King of Swords in its reversal. So this is interesting, but this is what is so important around some of this communication that you're currently experiencing at this time. And it will feel a bit different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, we are seeing that some of that blockage that you may have been experiencing as it relates to communication is some of that feeling of vulnerability that we saw coming out so heavily in yesterday's read. There were some circumstances and situations that were really triggering the masculine vulnerability that have been causing some of these communication blockages. But what we appreciate right now is for the masculine energy, this could be a description or discussion around some situations or circumstances that make you feel vulnerable, that make you feel less confident. But what we really like about this energy right now that we're seeing around the masculine energy is the fact that there is something about that degree of self-empowerment and self-control that is coming through right now in your own ability to talk and to communicate through things that you might not necessarily feel as confident about, even as you're expressing them. While for feminine energy right now, this could be indicative of 1 or 2 different things occurring around you right now. For some of the feminine energy, this is in collaboration or in communication with a masculine energy that you may feel is having to express some points of vulnerability, having to express some doubts and fears, having the active communication to work through these moments right now. This could also be for the other half of the feminine collective right now, trying to communicate right now towards masculine energy that you're recognizing to some degree is not necessarily at the same level or space that you are in right now as it relates to how to communicate. And this is also creating some of this blockage. The next card that we are seeing right now in our 5-card spread is... May I please have the next card? We have here, oh, we love this energy. We've got our Knight of Cups here. So this is really beautiful energy that we're seeing, particularly for the masculine energy as we speak right now, because what we're really seeing is this is the articulation point that we're seeing around some of these points of vulnerability that the masculine energy is currently experiencing as it relates to their own degree to communicate about what they're feeling right now. What we're really seeing in this moment right now is for masculine energy specifically, we are seeing that there are some feelings of doubt or fear or uncertainty that are coming through right now. But with that card of the day that we saw, with that Emperor energy, we see that there is a moment that you are overcoming some of these hurdles through the ability to communicate your own emotionality. So for masculine energy specifically right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you are walking through or experiencing your own sense of vulnerability, but we are not necessarily seeing that this is a blockage for you at this point. Instead, you are using that energy to articulate. You are pushing past your own feelings of vulnerability, manifesting that Emperor energy that we saw with the card of the day so that you can communicate how you are feeling at this moment. Very positive energy for masculine right now. While for feminine energy right now, I need to say, this is a lot of communication that's happening here today. And it could be, again, around a singular manifestation of masculine that you feel is communicating and articulating around some of their own doubts and fears at this moment, around some of the feelings that they're having, around some of these points of uncertainty. While for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this could be a point of really thinking about the communication that you're currently experiencing or currently having or currently planning on having around masculine energy, because this could indicate not just one, but potentially even multiple energies for some of the feminine collective, some of which you may not necessarily be in communication with because of some doubts and fears that have come to the surface, while for others, you may be experiencing more of that degree or ability to communicate their own emotionality, even as you're having some of these difficulties or challenges around some of the other energy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. The fourth card we are getting in our 5-card spread is, we have here coming through right now, we love to see this 9 of Swords in its reversal. And we love to see this card in its reversal right now, because what we're really identifying at this moment is this is that moment of coming into a point of easement. This is a lot of the communication that's coming through today is for an effect to alleviate any doubts or fears that you may be currently carrying for both masculine and feminine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, there is this point of easement that we're seeing. You're recognizing here that while there may be some experiences that have been making you feel uncertain, making you feel vulnerable, robbing you of some confidence, what we really see is happening here for the masculine energy is you are pushing through your own doubts, your own fears, expressing your communication in positive ways as it relates to the places and the things and the specific situations that you care about right now, because you are recognizing that in order to do so, you are able to unburden yourself of some of these doubts and fears and uncertainties that you're carrying at this moment. So specifically, especially for the masculine energy today, this is a bit of a feeling of a load being lifted or a lightening that you're currently feeling but all through the processes of communication. And that communication may be feeling somewhat difficult. It is creating or requiring a space of self-mastery for the masculine energy to be able to do this right now, as we saw indicated with that Emperor card that we pulled for the card of the day, and also with indications of this King of Swords in its reversal. There's something around these circumstances and situations that you feel some doubts and robs you of your confidence. But what we like about seeing this for the masculine right now is you're not letting that block or stop you. You are allowing yourself that mastery of self-control to push through, to have those conversations, even despite any difficulties, to be able to truly express your emotionality at this time that is allowing this easement of your own personal burdens. While for feminine energy, what we're really identifying right now is this is a moment that you yourself are putting a lot of energy into communication in order to find some pathways forward, to create a space of easement for yourself. For some of the feminine collective right now, this is indicating a singular manifestation of masculine that you are feeling, you are seeing this emotional expression through right now. You are working with them through it, even through their own doubts and fears. And you are doing a lot of work to help create this point of easement for them as they go forward from this point. For the other half of the feminine collective right now, this could be you having a lot of orientation right now, maybe around multiple manifestations of masculine, having communication, but experiencing moments of feeling, some are feeling very open and communicative as it relates to their emotionality, while some may be having some manifestation of masculine that you're potentially moving away from right now because you're experiencing some degree or a lack of confidence in order to go through these difficult burdens. But even for that feminine energy here, we are seeing that there is a point of easement coming through, because you are seeing some areas around the manifestation of masculine energy right now that are giving these emotional expressions to you, that are creating a point of easement even through some difficulties with others. The final card for our first 5 spread is, we have here coming through. I'm assuming this was in its upright, the way I picked it up. There is this moment here, thank you for the gift, with this 2 of Swords energy. Then we saw this card yesterday in the spread as well. We identified this yesterday when we were doing the reading yesterday. This is a lot of that same energy. There's some degree of patience that is required in the circumstances and situations that you currently find yourself in. We are seeing here that for both masculine and feminine energy right now, there is a point of using your skills of observation and emotionality, allowing that intuition and observation to really guide you through at this time. You aren't necessarily taking any strong, immediate actions at this moment, but it doesn't mean that you're not doing something very active, because what we're really identifying right now is you are using this time to observe. You are using this time to come into a better degree of understanding in your own system right now, around your own feelings, allowing some point of easement to help guide your path at this moment. And what we like to see about this, and this is what was really impressive about this, is the fact that for masculine energy right now, you are utilizing, and for feminine, you're utilizing communication right now. You're utilizing communication to come into a point of easement, allowing you the points of observation, allowing yourself that active listening, allowing yourself to really try to understand. So what we really like about the cards that we're seeing right now is not only is there communication occurring, but there's a lot of listening. There's a lot of active absorbing of the information that you're receiving today, so that you can truly decide how to proceed going forward from this point to allow for some of this easement on some of the burdens that you're carrying. For masculine energy, this is going to feel like a bit more of a struggle at this time, because what we're really identifying in this moment is there's something around these circumstances and situations that you have to communicate on right now that are requiring you or making you feel some point of anxiety, some point of doubts or fears coming in. But what we really appreciate at this moment is that you're still pushing through those challenges, through those hurdles, allowing your own emotional expression to push through with that emperor energy of self-control coming through to create this point of easement, while also really taking this opportunity to listen and understand so you can determine how to move forward from this point. While for feminine energy, again, this is a moment that you are also employing a lot of communication and active listening skills, potentially around either a single manifestation of masculine right now that you are recognizing is feeling some doubts or fears or insecurities, but is able to show you that they have this capacity to even emotionally express through your own hurdles right now, through their own challenges. For the other half of the collective right now, this is you building a point of orientation, potentially not necessarily around one masculine energy, but this could be separate masculine energies that are employing these qualities. Some of that masculine energy coming through right now as being non-communicative, non-reactive, being potentially in too much of a state of fear or lack of confidence to be able to communicate at this moment, while there are others that we're seeing around this that may be more expressive, more emotionally available at this moment. And even this is what's creating some of this point of easement for you at this time. Now, let's see if we can get some clarification on these cards today, which I'm definitely liking. Clarification between our Page of Wands in combination with our King of Swords in its reversal. So again, a moment that particularly for masculine energy is going to feel a bit difficult, because what we're seeing here is there's communication occurring right now for the masculine energy, but it is difficult communication for the masculine energy. There's something around this communication that makes the masculine energy feel like there is some lack of confidence as it relates to this. This could be for some of the masculine energy right now. This is communicating some of your doubts, some of your fears, some of your uncertainties. For the other half of the masculine collective right now, this could be feeling more like an internal struggle, desiring, trying to determine what you are going to say, or through a circumstance or situation where you're feeling somewhat uncertain or somewhat disempowered as it relates to what you're trying to say. Well, for the other half of for the feminine collective right now, this is you employing a lot of active communication today, either around masculine energy that is potentially not able to communicate in some fashion because of their own doubts or fears, or having active communication right now with a masculine energy that is expressing their doubts and fears at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. We've got two cards out to clarify, and we like to see these cards in combination. What are we seeing here right now? We are seeing the Two of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Wands in its reversal. What is this communication that is occurring right now for masculine and feminine energy? What is this moment that is creating this point of difficulty for masculine and feminine? What's really valuable around it is the communication that is trying to come through right now is an isolating on priorities, something about putting down some burdens around situations or circumstances that have become too overwrought, that have become too difficult to carry. And there's this degree and desire right now of creating a space or place of easement as you proceed forward from this time that we see is allowing for some of this communication to come through. For masculine energy right now, this is showing some of that fear around the situations or circumstances, that there is a desire that you're ideally trying to go through right now that is requiring you to put a lot of focus on where your priorities are going to be moving forward. And this point of easement, having these conversations, trying to come through this point of easement to allow you that better degree of not having to work or fight for something so hard as you proceed forward from this point. So this is for masculine energy, really an isolating right now on your own priorities and also allowing for a point of easement as it relates to how you proceed forward from this point. While for feminine energy, a lot of this communication too is very much oriented to the same degree, that there is something here that you are trying to work through right now around some burdens that may be feeling like they're becoming too hard to carry, trying to find ways. We've been seeing this in the reads for the last few days, trying to find a point that is going to make things feel like less of a struggle at this moment, and helping to orient all energies around you right now on what is truly of priority so that you can move forward in the best degree or with the best capacity going forward at this time. All of this energy that we're seeing today is for a point of easement around burdens that have become too confusing or too heavy to carry, being able to find that clarity of purpose to allow you to drive forward in a better degree as you proceed forward from this time for both masculine and feminine energy. For some masculine energy right now, this is feeling like a point that is clarifying on a lack of confidence, putting in a lot of active communication to try to overcome some of these hurdles and difficulties right now. While for the feminine collective right now, this is and for some of the masculine energy, again, you're either going to fall in one of two different spaces for this right now, masculine. For some of the masculine energy, this is you trying to find ways to articulate this to others right now. But you may be feeling a point where your own confidence is flagging as it relates to how to do so. For the other half of the masculine collective right now, you are actively doing this today. You are actively pushing through any of your own doubts and fears so that you can have this point of easement, employing a lot of that Emperor energy that we saw in our card of the day. While for feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you yourself are employing a lot of communication to try to get clarity to help you understand your own priorities as you proceed forward from this point. All to the degree of coming into specific situations to allow for a point of easement, to allow for some of this clarity, to make it a little bit easier for you as you deal with any kinds of confusion in your own life right now. Again, either working in unison with a masculine energy who you may be experiencing that they are communicating their own doubts and fears as it relates to going forward from this point. While for the other part of the feminine collective right now, this could be experiencing a moment where you are trying to have communication in this fashion, but the energy around you seems to lack the degree or confidence to be able to do so. But even that is giving you a deeper sense of orientation as it relates to how to proceed forward from this time with a point of easement. So we like to see these cards in combination today. Continuing to get clarification right now between our King of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Knight of Cups. So for masculine and feminine, this will feel a bit different. For masculine energy, what we're really identifying today is, again, there is that feeling where you are going through some hurdles, some obstacles that are making your own confidence flag to a certain degree. This is feeling like something that does come through as somewhat triggering. But what we like about this energy right now so much for the masculine is you're not letting this block you to a certain extent. Instead, you are allowing your emotionality to lead forward in these points. For the masculine energy right now, this is a moment of you trying to find a way to push forward and express your own emotionality, even through some of this lack of confidence that you're currently experiencing. For some of the masculine collective right now, this is something that you are actively doing. You are actively expressing this right now today. While for the other part of the masculine collective, this is something that you are trying to build on right now. This is something that you're trying to teach yourself how to do. You may be feeling more torn between these two feelings of feeling some area that you want to put some emotional communication towards right now, but also feeling you're battling yourself to a certain degree as it relates to your own feelings of anxiety in doing so. For the feminine collective right now, this is either actively working right now or expressing communication with a masculine energy that has this emotional degree to a certain extent, but you are also recognizing and you're hearing their emotionality and also experiencing their own doubts and fears through that emotionality, but you are working with that energy through them to help them as you go through this point. Well, for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this could be more than one manifestation of masculine. This could be having some communication today with both emotionally available masculine energy that is showing this degree or capacity of expressing emotionality versus feeling there is some orientation towards some other masculine energy that is around you at this time that may feel or you may recognize is in a point where their own confidence or their own fears block you from being able to have this communication with them at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, there it is, Two of Wands. So even this leads to communication. Even this leads to communication. We like this because even through the blockage, there's communication. So we really like to see this energy today. This is going to feel a bit different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy. For masculine energy, as we said, this is why we see that Emperor energy coming out so strongly today in the card of the day. There's a moment here where we really are recognizing that for masculine, there could be a feeling of really trying to push through or overcome any of your own doubts and fears at this moment. Specifically, because we recognize here that you recognize there are some spaces or places that you need to come forward with some emotional gesture so that you can open or clear the channels of communication and planning going forward. While for the other half of the masculine energy right now, for half of the masculine energy right now, this is something that you are currently employing. You are currently having to go through this active struggle that's making you feel somewhat vulnerable, but you are doing so for the degree and desire of, again, building this clarity, building this path for yourself going forward that's going to allow for an easement to some of those blockages that we've been seeing over the last few days. While for the other half of the masculine collective right now, this is you potentially being in a space of planning, trying to decide what you are going to say, trying to decide how you are going to say it, but maybe even still fighting back against yourself around your own anxieties and fears in terms of how to express your emotionality at this time. While for feminine energy right now, this is a moment of heavy communication in building that path and getting some of that perspective on what that future is going to look like for yourself, all via communication. Again, either working in collaboration or unison right now with a masculine energy that is expressing their own doubts and fears, but that you recognize to a degree is able to emotionally connect even through their own anxieties, their own doubts, their own fears coming to the surface. And that's what's allowing for this productive communication to come through. For the other half of the feminine collective, this could be feeling more like a moment of really getting optics as it relates to some of the masculine energy around you, because this could be interpreted as potentially more than one masculine, one that is kind of coming through right now with that emotionality, with that availability, while there may be others that you're feeling that you're seeing that blockage in. You're just experiencing the fact that they are in a space that they are too much at a lack of confidence or security to be able to communicate in this same fashion. So even for feminine energy, there is a lot of clarity that is coming through on this right now, all around the focus of communication. Continuing to get clarity, and it's giving that ability to see what the future long-term path is going to look like. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Cups in combination with our Nine of Swords in its reversal. Again, two cards we love to see in combination to each other. Why? And it will feel different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now. For masculine energy, this is that moment of recognizing the ability or degree to be able to move through any difficulties or hurdles that you're currently experiencing, all by healthy expression of your emotional offers at this time. The path forward here around this has a lot to do with your own emotional communication, and you're recognizing that these emotional spaces that you're putting through right now are actually creating this point of easement as you proceed forward from this point. For some of the masculine energy right now, this is a moment of consideration. Again, you are trying to figure out how to articulate and move forward with this emotionality, while for others right now, you are taking this moment and you are actively employing these communication skills to create a point of easement as you go forward from this point, even through your own doubts and fears rising to the surface. While for the feminine energy right now, this is you feeling or recognizing, again, a point of easement that's coming through right now, all based on healthy communication with masculine energy. Masculine energy that is able to show a healthy way of communicating their own emotionality at this time, that is allowing for a point of easement. For some of the feminine energy right now, this is active work that you're currently experiencing. You're going through situations or circumstances right now that are allowing you this point of easement as you proceed forward with that emotional support from the masculine energy coming in to lend that aid. While for the other part of the feminine energy, this is you manifesting this energy towards yourself right now as you recognize this point of easement that assists you as you go forward from this point. Everything being based on that communication and emotionality. While for masculine energy, this is a lot of more active choice that you're making at this time. You are actively choosing where to put these emotional offers to allow for this point of easement going forward. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming right now with our Knight of Swords. And you see, this is that point of easement that we're seeing with that King of Swords energy in its reversal. If for there's a lot of masculine energy all over this spread today. So again, for masculine energy, this could be feeling like a very emotional day, because what we're really identifying is the fact that you are in a point of feeling some degree of uncertainty. There's some vulnerability that's coming into play here, as is indicated by that King of Swords in its reversal. You are utilizing a lot of self-control and self-mastery at this time to overcome a lot of those hurdles and blockages, specifically with and through positive communication around your own feelings of vulnerability in this moment that are allowing for a point of easement. This will feel a bit different depending on whether you align to masculine or feminine energy right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, what we're really seeing is this is a moment that you are feeling that there is, I have to stress this, it's not the fact that the masculine energy isn't feeling some doubts or fears right now. Masculine, you are feeling some doubts and fears, but what we actually see here is there's something about you being able to push through on those emotional offers right now, even through your own doubts and fears, that are creating that state of easement. And then for that degree and for that capacity, we actually see that that solution here brings the energy back towards the masculine. It gives them the confidence again, because there's something here that's a recognition for the masculine energy that being able to do this, to bring these emotional offers forward, is what allows for you to feel this confidence, because you're getting that easement, you're getting that security in whatever areas or spaces that the masculine energy is putting this emotionality in right now. The masculine energy is taking this leap. They're taking that like fool energy that we saw a few days ago with emotionality here. And they're immediately getting some kind of support and easement, which is then furthering you forward on your own courage coming back in this moment. For some of the masculine energy right now, this is you actively participating in this act. This is you actively having these conversations today, actively expressing your emotionality around things, actively experiencing this movement and degree of desire in terms of getting that confidence back in play. For the other half of the masculine energy right now, this is something that you are potentially working on putting together for yourself at this moment. You're building yourself up is what we see for the other half of the masculine energy. You might not necessarily be there yet, because that confidence might not necessarily be completely at play right now with that King of Swords energy, but we see that there is this understanding that's coming in right now that's helping to focus your determination as it relates to where you want to head right now. And it all has to do with where you're trying to put your own emotional offers at this time. While for feminine energy right now, again, we are recognizing that there is something here that is also creating or allowing a state of easement for you at this moment. And it will feel a bit different depending on where you fall on the feminine collective at this time. For some of the feminine collective right now, this is a moment of working through any difficulties, any doubts, any fears with the assistance of a masculine energy that, again, you may be identifying and recognizing does have some feelings of uncertainty and vulnerability at this moment, but they are actively communicating with you on it. They're actively showing a degree and ability to express their feelings even through some of that difficulty. And that is what's bringing back your own courage around circumstances and situations as well. It's creating a point of easement because you're recognizing that that energy, even at a point when they are feeling at a disadvantage, are also still showing you that there's still a lot of confidence in terms of wanting to push forward through any of these difficulties and challenges. While for the other half of the feminine energy right now, there is a point of easement that's coming through because you yourself, through your communication and how it's being received, are getting that point of orientation and understanding, recognizing that the point of easement comes when you experience manifestations of masculine that, again, are either in a state where they can show some ability or degree of emotional offer, or that they have that ability to immediately respond when you yourself are feeling any doubts and fears. And either for some of you, this is either you saying like you'll take one or the other, someone who like shows that emotional ability or also shows that like immediacy when you kind of have a need to have it fulfilled. While for the other half, this is you manifesting an energy that's potentially able to, again, both be very emotionally expressive, but also be very quick to work with you to help ease any difficulties or hurdles you're currently experiencing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Nine of Swords in its reversal, which we love to see, and our Two of Swords in its reversal. So again, for both masculine and feminine energy, what we really like to see here is there is this point of easement coming in. There is something here of feeling like a burden is being lifted. Something is becoming easier right now. And a lot of it, though, is a moment of, again, based on a lot of healthy communication coming through at this point. We see here that there aren't necessarily immediate active steps happening at this moment, but there's a lot of active listening. There's a lot of observation. There's a lot of deciding and coming into understanding and taking time for yourself to build this understanding, trying to determine what's going to allow you to move forward right now from a point of easement, not necessarily taking immediate action, but really focusing on your own sense of intuition and higher guidance right now to help guide your path moving forward. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Oh, we love this card and its reversal. This is beautiful because what we're really seeing at this moment is there's something around this energy right now that is really showing the fact that this is healing an abandonment wound. That this is a moment, again, it is recognizing that there is an abandonment wound here. But what we like about this, what's so important, is the fact that this is not bringing up a reactionary state in the recognition of the abandonment wound. Instead, this is a point of observation on the trigger itself, on what is creating those feelings and doubts of vulnerability. This is going to feel very tricky for masculine energy right now, given the fact that there's so much masculine energy on the table right now, because there's something around this abandonment wound that's getting triggered right now that makes you feel disempowered. That's that point that you have to feel like you need to push through right now with your own emotions to express your own vulnerabilities at this time in order to counter some of that abandonment wound that you're currently experiencing. But you're also recognizing that and able to do so allows for a point of easement. And it all is creating, and what we like about this is for the masculine energy, this is creating a moment of pause, not being reactive, but allowing yourself to, again, instead of moving from a space of fear, moving from a space of positive communication, despite your fear, despite your anxieties, which is what we like to see in this moment. While for feminine energy, there is a moment too that we are recognizing that you yourself are going through. You are feeling some degree or desire for a point of easement, for some burdens to be lifted from you right now that have been feeling like they are too hard to carry. But what we like right now, again, is you are employing a lot of communication skills right now to create this sense of easement for yourself at this moment. Not necessarily taking any swift action right now, but just allowing this to be a moment to gravitate, to center yourself. And this makes a lot of sense given the fact that we've seen that for feminine energy, there's been a lot of emotional movement over the last few days with all of those Queen of Cups popping up over and over again. This is that moment of really grounding into your center, taking this time, not being reactionary. Again, recognizing that some of these anxieties and fears that you've been feeling have been the trigger of an abandonment wound, but not reacting to them. Instead, doing the things necessary to address how to proceed forward from this point. And for feminine, we're really seeing that the solution to this is healthy, active communication with masculine energy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between the Two of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with the Seven of Wands in its reversal in combination with the Two of Wands in its upright. So again, there is a point of easement that we're seeing is necessary or needed right now as it relates to circumstances and situations for both masculine and feminine energy. And what we're really seeing here is there is a moment, the communication occurring today is to make things easier as you proceed, to find a point of putting down things that have become too difficult and isolating in terms of understanding and making sure that priorities are all in the same place as you proceed forward from this time. For some of you right now, this is getting that either way, depending on where you're falling for masculine and feminine right now. This is a moment of getting that clarification. For some of you, you're getting that clarification by having this active communication at this time. For others, this is coming through in terms of actively communicating, potentially not getting back what you were expecting, and that also being a point of clarification for you at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we love this, Five of Swords, Five of Wands in its reversal. This is that path of peace. This is that path of peace that we're seeing for masculine and feminine energy, depending on where you are on any of the collective spectrum right now. This is where you're getting that sense of peace that you require as you go forward from this point. There's a lot of kind of closure that's coming through on this right now because, like, again, everything that we're seeing that's occurring right now is allowing for this state of easement to come through. It's allowing for these burdens. It's allowing for something not to be as difficult as it may have felt prior to this happening, because what we're really seeing here is there's something about the communication occurring today that is allowing for an understanding on how to move forward without as much difficulty and isolating on priorities that is leading ultimately to a feeling of a conflict reaching some point or degree of resolution one way or another. For some, this is moving into a space of coming into a point of resolution with energy. For some, this might be a moment of just putting down a burden right now because you weren't seeing what you needed back in the communication that you've been putting out. But for both sides of this energy right now, we see that this is an easement moment coming through as it relates to any internal or external conflicts that you've been feeling. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, this is the communication between our Two of Wands and our Knight of Swords right now. So again, having this moment right now where you yourself are going through a point of actively communicating, setting these plans for yourself at this moment. But again, for masculine and feminine, this will feel a bit different. For masculine energy right now, this is you getting that confidence back in those spaces, in those places where you feel like this healthy communication is being seen and received, allowing this to be a moment right now of really setting your path going forward and getting kind of as a result of that, this like burst of confidence and energy back, even through some of those feelings of anxiety and vulnerability that required it. Right? The solution to the vulnerability right now for masculine energy is that ability to push through the vulnerability to emotionally express that then brings you back into a state of confidence from what you receive. While for feminine energy right now, what we're really seeing is this is a moment that you yourself are putting a lot of concentration on building this path forward from yourself, employing a lot of healthy communication at this moment. And again, building a lot of points of observation in terms of how that communication is being received and whether the energy around you right now is moving forward at the capacity and degree that you yourself are hoping to receive as it relates to this communication. For some of the feminine energy right now, this is working to manifest this kind of energy towards you, requiring and desiring this same equal amount or degree of excitement or activity or like rapidness from the masculine energy. While for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this is you actively working right now with masculine energy that you understand has this ability to communicate with you in a very effective way. And that healthy communication showing you their own degree of commitment to the communication as you proceed forward from this point. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming right now with our Page of Swords, which is what we love to see, because what we're really seeing here is this is the confidence being restored for both masculine and feminine energy at this time. That there's this communication that's occurring, this clarification of plans, this clarification of goals, this planning that you're doing right now. For masculine energy, this is getting that back, is what's giving you that confidence back that you were not necessarily feeling in the space where you've had to be able to do some of this communication that has felt very vulnerable. But it's like the responsiveness and what you get back today gives you this energy again to feel like you are having back into a state of confidence. It gives you that energy that you're ready to kind of step forward and take some of these steps for yourself at this moment. While for feminine energy right now, there's a lot that's being learned as it relates to your own communication and planning, specifically because we're identifying here that for feminine energy, there's a lot that you're working through right now around communication towards masculine energy. For some of the feminine collective right now, this is actively working right now with the masculine energy that you feel has this degree of confidence, has this ability to push through even as they're feeling a point of vulnerability at this time. And that is what's giving you back your own confidence at this moment. While for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this is a moment of you really putting a lot of care and attention in what you're trying to manifest for yourself at this time, allowing the communication that you've been putting out and receiving to give you a better sense of what manifesting masculine energy that shows this degree and ability of responsiveness, and that is also bringing your own confidence into play as well at this time. So positive energy right now for both masculine and feminine that's coming from that healthy communication and that desire and degree of being able to receive that energy back in kind. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Swords in combination with our Five of Pentacles in its reversal. So for both masculine and feminine right now, there is a moment that an abandonment wound is being triggered. We see that coming through here. And it will have a bit of a different impact depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now. For feminine energy right now, there is an abandonment wound being triggered. And for some of the feminine collective right now, though, we see that there is a point of easement that's happening in the observation of this abandonment wound being triggered, either working right now in unison with a masculine energy that you have articulated this abandonment wound to, but is quick to kind of act to be able to lend support even as you are experiencing some of this. While for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this is a moment that you are recognizing what you need when an abandonment wound's triggered. You are not letting yourself be reactionary to this moment, but what you're really understanding is, again, this could be feeling that for some of the feminine collective right now, there is a lot of paying attention to the response of how your own abandonment wound is being triggered and the energy around you right now in terms of how they respond to it. Are they coming into a way that is supportive, or are they feeling like to a degree or desire that they're coming off as more adversarial or some points of fear? This is where some of that energy is, because for feminine right now, some of this Knight of Swords energy could go both ways. This could be either identifying right now as feeling a lot of confidence and a lot of energy towards the feminine energy to heal this. While for some of the feminine energy right now, there might be something about feeling too much of an adversarial energy that comes through when your own abandonment wound is experienced here, that you're also potentially working through right now with some energy. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are feeling some of this abandonment wound. But what we like about this, again, is while that typically we're seeing here something about this abandonment wound brings you into a state of feeling a lack of confidence, what we really see here, and this is where that emperor energy is coming in right now. For masculine energy, you're not running from your abandonment wound. For masculine energy right now, you are facing the abandonment wound full force. You're just running right at it to a degree to be able to face it instead of allowing it to basically guide your actions. You are almost like pushing back against yourself at this time despite this abandonment wound being triggered, and that's what's allowing for this productivity at this moment, though it's requiring a lot more self-control on the masculine side right now. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming right now with our 5 of Swords. So there's so much here about resolution. It's not even funny. There is resolution on the table. There is a point of coming into a space of easement and resolution for both masculine and feminine energy here. And this has a lot to do with all of the communication that we're seeing here. Because what we're really identifying right now is, again, for feminine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are working on healing an abandonment wound. And it is making you have some orientation on working on some situations or circumstances right now, either with, again, a masculine energy that you also recognize has this ability and degree to push forward and through even moments when abandonment wounds are being triggered. Doing the shared work right now to resolve any issues or circumstances that you're currently experiencing, even in the face of the abandonment wound being triggered. While for the other part of the feminine collective right now, this could be experiencing some abandonment wound that you're working to heal, potentially around some circumstances or situations from the past, and working through some of the responses that you've received in degree from masculine energy as this abandonment wound was being activated, working on this to heal it at this moment, but putting a lot of orientation on the masculine energy around you right now, even as you're experiencing it. For the masculine collective right now, this is that moment of, again, pushing through your own hurdles, pushing through your own doubts, pushing through your own fears at this moment, because we do see the fact that for masculine energy right now, there is a feeling right now of having some point of vulnerability and doubt and fear. But what we're really identifying right now at this time is, again, masculine energy is doing that work right now to heal, to work through your own abandonment wound being triggered, but realizing and recognizing that it does lead to some circumstances and situations that need some point of resolution. For some of the masculine energy right now, this is working with unison with feminine energy to also address some of these abandonment wounds to come into a space of better healing. For the other half of the masculine collective right now, this could be you facing an abandonment wound that you now identify and see, and needing to feel like you have some degree of capacity of needing to go back and correct some things from the circumstances that you may have felt are unaddressed or incomplete in order to help you proceed forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 5 of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Page of Swords, which we love to see these two cards in combination. Because what we're really identifying here is that moment of easement. There is this moment here of coming into a point of peace, allowing for some conflicts to reach a point of resolution and getting back some confidence in the process. For some of you, this is a letting go or shedding any kinds of conflicts or quarrels that you've been feeling internally or externally and getting this renewed vitality as a result of it. For the others, this is you kind of working on resolving today any active issues or quarrels, so that you can move forward from this point, from a point of deeper confidence. May I please have one card to clarify? clarification coming right now with transformation energy, with this beautiful death card energy here, because what this is really requiring is there is a transformation at hand. And one of the things that we have to recognize when we see this card in play is that there is an energy here that can feel very transformative. These transformations can be very painful, but they're very important. They allow for a point of easement. They allow for that change, recognizing that sometimes the most important change that we are working through requires a point of pain in order to achieve them. So what we're really seeing here is there's something about moving through some of these quarrels right now, either internally or externally, that is profoundly changing you right now. For some of you right now, this is a lot of changes that are occurring around these quarrels that you're allowing to happen in this moment, but also getting the confidence as you push forward from this point. For the other half right now, this is a moment where you're potentially allowing some conversations or arguments to reach a point of finalitude, allowing that transformation occur and feeling that freedom from them as you proceed forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Swords in combination with our Five of Swords. So again, this is going to feel a bit for masculine and feminine energy right now. We are seeing that this is some situation or circumstance where you are finding and receiving the confidence you need to be able to go back to situations or circumstances to get the closure that you need, working right now today in resolving any points of issues or circumstances that you feel need to be resolved, having that confidence at this moment to do that type of work, which would be very indicative of that transformation energy that we saw. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we love to see this girl here. Finally, some feminine energy on the table right now with our Queen of Wands. And what we're really identifying here is there's something coming through. And yes, it will feel a bit different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, there's something around these circumstances or situations, this transformation that you're going through right now, feeling some of this confidence coming in right now, allowing yourself to go and face situations or circumstances with that degree of confidence that you need. And what we really see right now is this moment that there is this point for feminine where you feel like you're coming back into higher alignment with yourself, particularly as it relates to the realms of activation, passion, and communication. There's something here around this circumstance or situation we're seeing here. I'm actually seeing a lot here for feminine energy. There's a lot of communication that's being employed today. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of planning. All of this is even, and what we like to see, it's even around the feminine energy right now that isn't getting responses around circumstances or situations. Feminine energy isn't getting blocked in those. They're just allowing that transformation to continue right now, which is allowing the feminine energy to come into their power in this point of balance with their own masculine energy right now. While for some of the feminine energy right now, this is working again in unison with the masculine energy that is showing this degree and capacity of an ability to support and come to a point of resolution around some circumstances and situations that need to be addressed. For the other half of the feminine energy right now, this is you getting the confidence and closure that you potentially need around circumstances and situations right now that are allowing you to come into this state of balance for yourself at this moment. While for masculine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment where a lot of your orientation right now is towards this Queen of Wands energy. This would give a lot of indications around your own sense of vulnerability. We're going to just put it out there. Queen of Wands energy can sometimes feel very intimidating to masculine energy. And what we're really seeing here is there's almost something here where this is doubly so right now because the masculine energy is at a point where there's some circumstances or situations that need to be discussed that the masculine energy doesn't necessarily feel confident about because it has to make them reach into their emotional center, talk about abandonment wounds. It's very problematic territory for the masculine right now. For some of the masculine energy right now, we're seeing here that you're getting that degree of confidence by allowing yourself to be vulnerable in these difficult conversations at this moment that are allowing you to come into alignment with a a feminine energy that you recognize is a safe space to have these conversations with, that they are the space that allows for this degree of balance, that they have this gift of communication that allows you to be able to have this work of being vulnerable, even if you're not feeling completely certain, because you're recognizing here about that feminine energy that there is a safe space. For some of the masculine energy right now, this is you working in tandem right now with an energy that embodies these qualities as you resolve any difficulties that you're currently experiencing. While for the other half of the masculine collective right now, this could be you still feeling at a point of uncertainty, having to work through and wrestle through some of your own anxieties right now as it relates to how to approach or how to address some circumstances that need to be addressed around an energy you feel is in this degree that may be making you feel somewhat intimidated or uncertain, which is why you might be having a bit more pause at this time as you proceed forward from this point. But what we like about this is for both masculine and feminine energy right now, there is a deep orientation happening in the realm of communication, because the Queen of Wands is an exceptional, compassionate communicator. Continuing to get clarification right now between these beautiful cards in combination today, which is the Death card in combination with the Queen of Wands energy. So it will feel a bit different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy at this time. For feminine energy right now, there is a feeling of deep transformation today. This is going to be a very heavy feeling. There's a lot of work here that can be very emotional. These transformation processes can feel like very strong energy, but in a way, being able to rise to the challenge of it, because you're recognizing something about this transformation is creating a space of balance within you right now, channeling this Queen of Wands energy. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you are potentially feeling a lot of profound transformation. It's going to feel a little bit more difficult today, I'm just going to say, for the masculine energy, because we do see that King of Swords and its reversal on the table. Something about this transformation that you're going through right now, masculine energy, is very difficult because it's requiring you to make some changes around your own ability to push through some situations or circumstances that are typically making you feel more vulnerable than you typically would. You really have to push through this problem right now in order to allow yourself to come out the other side facing an abandonment wound in a very brave, confident way, but all to the extent of, again, either working as you do so right now with the support of a feminine energy that you recognize is in their own Queen of Wands, someone who's able to balance you at this time, to lend you this communication, to lend you this passion, to lend you this inspiration, to lend you this support as you experience this right now. For the other half of the masculine collective right now, this is you potentially going through some deep periods of transformation for yourself at this moment, all in an attempt right now to get towards a manifestation of feminine that you identify and see possesses these qualities. May I please have one card to clarify? Final card for today's spread is our Three of Pentacles in its reversal. So this is a moment of new foundations being laid. This is not building up on the old. A lot of this, what we're seeing here right now, is requiring new foundations to be built. That's why we're seeing so much of this transformation energy with the Death card. For both feminine and masculine energy right now, there's something about rebuilding a foundation, getting down to square one, so that you can build something from a better foundation. A lot of the energy that we're identifying here, both for masculine and feminine right now, a lot of the conversations that could be being had right now have to potentially do with assessing some circumstances and situations that were leading in the wrong direction and trying to find some way to lay new ground to rebuild. For some of the collective right now, this is that moment of disruption that you may be feeling. For some of the feminine collective right now, this is a moment that you may be allowing some cycles to close around you, identifying that you're feeling like ultimately that foundation that you require isn't necessarily there, but feeling the confidence in doing so right now because you are in alignment with your own ability to communicate and get the clarity you need at this time in order to help you assess this. For the other half of the feminine collective right now, this is a moment that you yourself are working right now with masculine energy to address some circumstances and situations where you may need to kind of go back to the drawing board, if you will, to make sure that the foundations are solid prior to starting anew, which is also where we're seeing a lot of this transformation energy. For masculine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you yourself are looking around the foundations that are around you. For some of you right now, this is a moment that you're potentially moving away from some circumstances or situations as you try to build a new foundation towards feminine energy that you recognize is in this Queen of Wands, or has this degree or ability to work with you in this way as it relates to communication, as it relates to passion. For others right now, this is you presently working right now on a lot of deep transformation within your own self to build some degree or capacity of communication in order to build some new foundations around yourself right now. Again, in unison and in collaboration with a feminine energy that you recognize or possesses these qualities at this time. So, bottom of the deck on this reading right now is... oh, we love this. Again, this is the card that we've been seeing in our daily collective read. It's back up again. It's even back up in its same position. We've got here that 10 of Wands in its reversal. So again, there is some anxiety right now around burdens that are too heavy to carry. We're seeing that here very strongly, again, with some of that Seven of Swords in its Wands in its reversal. There is this feeling right now of a point of exhaustion that's being reached for both masculine and feminine energy right now. We got to see it right here. There's something here for masculine energy. There's something that's taking a bit of a toll on your own sense of confidence. It's shaking you. It's working something that you need to currently work through right now. There is something here that is asking you if there's something around these circumstances and situations that is something that you can ultimately carry, or are these burdens becoming too heavy for you to be able to move forward with it this time? While for feminine energy right now, again, there is this moment right now where you yourself, feminine's employing a lot of this communication right now. For feminine, a lot of this is like productive communication in the span of passion and planning. While for masculine, we see a lot of this communication coming through right now as it relates to emotionality. For masculine, that is very difficult. Conveying those emotions is something that is not easy for the masculine energy. There is some feelings of weakness around this right now, and asking yourself if you can carry that burden. While for feminine right now, there's something about having to do, there's something more coming into play right now about just wanting to get the clarity that you need in order to see that path going forward. And there is something here that shows a point of anxiety in feeling some frustration about having to do a lot of this planning. We're seeing for the feminine potentially on their own right now, or feeling like a bit that they're carrying a lot of this, that may be feeling like a bit of a burden that needs to be lifted to a certain extent. Even for the feminines that are currently working in collaboration with masculine energy at this time. That is our daily collective read for the day. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and sharing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Also, please remember that booking a reading on my site is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and then you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure that you hit both buttons if you're going to have a reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never reach out to you for a reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never tell you that I have a special message that only I can deliver through inbox. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for having this reading with me today, and we will do this again tomorrow.